Hey everyone, this is Phil Carlton, and I want to thank you for joining me here today. Also wanted to remind you can subscribe to my page on YouTube, and you'll also find me over on Facebook under Premiere Plus Phil, and I'd love to have you join me there as well. So it's a little early for this. It's the end of October, and I'm going to be making a snowflake, but I guess we're heading into the Christmas season. And I've also seen a couple of questions in the last week about this technique, so I thought it was a good time to go ahead and create it. So this technique of taking a name and converting it into a snowflake is something we've been doing in the software, I think, since like 3D or 4D. I know we've been doing it for quite a long time, but a couple of things did change in Premiere Plus 2 that I want to point out. And then I want to maybe just give you a couple of other fun ideas to use the technique. So the first thing we need to do is go over to the letter tab to bring in the name we're going to create. And I'm going to use the Adina font. It's in our script category. I like the way this builds snowflakes. I want you to notice there are two versions. There is an Adina 12 to 40, and then there is an Adina 25 to 100. The difference between the two is the larger one has additional underlay. So as the letters get bigger, there's going to be more underlay. I'm going to use that one for today, I think. For this one, I'm going to be working at a size of about 30 millimeters, so really either one of those would work. And I'm going to start by just bringing in my name. I'm going to type in my name in the letters box. I'm going to set the size to 30. And then I'm going to come all the way over to the far right and click the green check mark to create that name. Now, one thing that I saw some people, or that people noticed about our lettering now, is if I drag the zoom slider here to the right for just a second to zoom in, you'll notice on our lettering there is no longer a flip handle on the top and the left side to mirror the text left and right or up and down. That is because we have this handles menu now that gives us a lot of different shaping options with our lettering. So if you needed to flip the design and wanted to start like that, you would need to right click, and if you chose the top option, Fix as Stitches, that's going to turn it into just a design. So you can't edit the text anymore, but then you would be able to mirror it or flip it. I'm going to undo that because I don't want to do that. I want to keep my handles green. And if you'll remember, when we work with green handles in Premiere Plus 2, that means we could make the word larger or smaller, and as we tweak it, it's going to regenerate the lettering. So we create these snowflakes using a couple of different encores. So I'm going to go first to the Home tab because I'm going to do a horizontal encore first. I'm going to build kind of the top of the snowflake, or the piece that's going to be at 12 o'clock. And to do that, I want my lettering to be rotated so that I can build the first element as a mirrored piece. So I'm going to click Rotate 45 6 times. And now it's going to be in place so that when I mirror it, I'm going to get a mirror over on the right side. I'm going to go to the Encore tab. I'm going to encore it to a line. I'm going to choose Mirror in my layout area so that the second one that comes in will be flipped the other direction. And I'm going to just do 2 repeats. I'm going to click Preview. And then I'm going to click the green check mark immediately to apply. And when I did that, it created a second copy mirrored, touching the first copy. I'm going to go ahead and zoom out so we can see the entire thing now. Now with an additional encore, I'm going to go to Encore to a circle this time. I'm going to try this at 5 repeats and click Preview. Then just bring them in until they meet, or maybe even cross over just a little bit. Then I'm going to click the green check mark to apply. So I created that at 30 millimeters, and if you'll notice, I'm working in a 200 by 200 hoop, so this is just a little bit larger than I probably want it to be. So I have a couple of different options. I could undo a bunch of times and go back and do a smaller letter. But because I built this lettering in Premiere Plus 2, and I still have the green handles, even though I'm working with a group of things now, if I hold down the Control key and the Shift key, the Control key is going to keep my design in proportion. The Shift key is going to let me resize from the center. Now I can just grab my lower right handle and move it down a little bit, and it will fit into my hoop, and it regenerated that lettering because I had the green handles. It was lettering from here in the software. Now, if I was going to decrease it by a significant amount, like by 40 or 50%, I would probably want to go to that smaller font that doesn't have as much underlay. But if I go ahead and click, I'm going to come up to Live View so we can just see what that looks like. And it's created a nice little piece. I really like the way the curl of the P is interacting here in this section. Let's hit cancel now, and I'm going to undo several times till I'm back to my name, because I do want to point out that I could also mirror it this way. So when you're playing with snowflakes, you may find that using different angles is going to give you a different effect. So now, instead of having rotated it 270 degrees, I just rotated it 90 degrees. And I'm going to do the same two encores again. The line mirror to preview and apply. And then the circle, and maybe this time I'll try, I know it's going to be too big, but maybe 6 of them. Pull those in. And I don't like that quite as much, so let me try 5 repeats and click preview. So one of the nice things about working with that encore is if I come in and change the number of repeats and click preview, I can adjust the number when I preview it before I've completed the encore. I'm going to click the green check mark to apply, size that down just a little bit. And I kind of like that one as well. I like that it has that inner star that's built. So you'll find sometimes that when you're using interesting letters, you may end up with an internal design. I'm going to go ahead and select this one, and I'm going to click delete on my keyboard to delete it. And I want to show you one other example and something to think about. So I'm going to go back over to the letter tab, and I'm going to go to, I'll stay with the same font, but I'm going to do this one at about, actually I'm going to go to the smaller font, I think, because I'm going to do this one at 25 millimeters. And I'm going to do the name Mary. I'm going to come all the way to the far right and click the green check mark to apply. Now I've got that name Mary, and I'm ready to build my encore. But something to think about, if I just come over to the rotate, and if I rotate it, and then go to my encore to the line, mirror 2 of them, what I'm noticing is because of the descender, because of that capital letter Y, I see a lot of space in here. And if I do my encore, I may like it, I may not. Let's try it. So it's interesting, but I don't love all that internal space. So I'm going to cancel this, and I'm going to click undo till I'm back to the Mary. Drag my zoom slider so we can see this word for a minute. And I'm going to use this center vertical line to adjust my lettering. I'm going to position the name here on the baseline. Then I'm going to drag this little green handle in the center right down here, and that's going to change my rotation point. So now when I rotate it, it's going to rotate from that point, and I can take it, and I'm just going to kind of use that. I probably should have dragged the rotation point. I'm going to undo and show that again because I probably don't like the way I did it. I'm going to grab this rotation point. I want that to stay right on that line. So now, as I rotate this, I can take it here, but I'm going to leave it just a little bit of that descender past this line. Now let's go over to the encore. I'm going to do the line, mirror with repeats 2, click preview, and you'll notice what I did. It kind of did a strange thing with the encore. I'm going to click cancel, and if I click outside and select again, my rotation points back to the center. Now if I click preview, it's going to behave like I expect it to. So if you get a weird thing like that when you encore, it's because you've adjusted that rotation point. Now I'm going to use my right handle on the right side and drag these till they meet just a little bit like this. And again, I get just a little bit of curly Q action here and a little overlap here. I really like that. I'm going to click the green check mark to apply. Then I'm going to encore this to a circle. Let's zoom out so we can see this. And let's do 5 of these. Pull them in, and I'm going to bring these in until those meet. And I really like this piece right here where it's starting to overlap those satins just a little bit. It's not going to be too heavy, but it gives you a really nice effect. I'm going to click undo a couple of times and get back to my name, Mary, here. I'm going to right click and go into my properties now, and I'm going to change one other thing. I'm going to uncheck color sort now. Notice in my color list over on the right side right now, I have one color. When I uncheck color sort in my letter properties dialog, it's going to give me a color stop for every one of the letters. And this is where you can start playing a little with the color that happens in your snowflake. So maybe I'm going to double click on color number 1, which is going to be the first letter, and I'm going to use a very light green. Click OK. Double click on color 2, go to a slightly darker green, and click OK. Color number 3, an even darker green, and click OK. And color 4 to this swatch right here, which is actually evergreen, so it is a very dark green. And I'm going to click OK. So now I've almost built like a gradient with this lettering. Now when I come into my encore, line, mirror, 2 repeats. Oh, cancel that. Remember, I want to click outside, select it so my rotation point is in the center. Click preview. Going to drag these in until they overlap because I really liked the interplay of those letters. Click the green check mark to apply. Encore this to a circle 5 times. Drag them in until they meet. Click the green check mark to apply. And now, if I come into my life view, I really like the gradient that built. And it might be interesting to maybe go from dark to light or to even try different colors, maybe a nice blue. But it's something a little different to do with this technique where you're playing not just with how you're mirroring the words and how you're getting the words to interact with one another, but also using color to give it a little more texture. This has been a popular technique for a long time, and I hope maybe I've taught you a little something new or something to approach it a little bit differently. If you make your name, I would love to have you share it with me over on my Facebook group because I would love to see what you do. Thank you very much. Have a great day.